Boom. All right, legends. So, have you seen this? And have you figured it out yet? Let's take a look. Hello team, how we doing? I seem to have got a bit of a pink tinge to me. I don't know what's brought that about. Hang on, let me push some buttons. Is that better? Ah, that's a bit better. Right, so yeah, I was just having a look through Twitter, folks, and this caught my eye. This is something that I came across a while back, and it's quite fascinating. It's JFK Jr.'s magazine. We're going to come on to the implications of this. But before I do, can I just give a shout out to tomorrow's podcast? Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. UK time. That is definitely not tomorrow's podcast. Bear with me. Hit the right button. There we go. I chat with the absolutely wonderful Larry Schnapf, who's a leading authority on the JFK assassination. So don't miss that one. I think I had a few perlers that even Larry wasn't aware of, because it's something that fascinates me. Also, yesterday, apologies to our locals community. I was going to talk about this video, folks.
Synagogue of Satan. And right away you have to stop there and say, my God, what is being referred to the synagogue of Satan?
Okay, the synagogue, something grossly misunderstood, but probably best we go over to locals, folks, and discuss that in a minute. There's the locals URL if you want to come and join us. It's a free platform, folks. Right, let's get into this. Oh, I was just watching, well, let's just watch a bit of this video. This is the call to arrest Hillary, which just seems to be a constant, it's just a constant call every day of the year, is it not? Arrest Hillary. Sorry, someone's just pinging me on Telegram. Apologies for the annoyance. Let me just play you a bit of this.
Kennedy Jr. He was declared the front runner for the New York.
That was JFK Jr.
Was declared
releasing his magazine. We're going to come on to this. Just watch a bit more of the video.
The front runner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement.
Right. So I'll stop that there. I think you get the point. I think Sean Atwood's covered all the people that have mysteriously disappeared or, ended their life in bizarre circumstances around the Clinton family. That wasn't what I was going to go into. What I was going to go into is this. This bottom picture here is the book depository in Dallas, where allegedly Lee Harvey Oswald was working and took that fateful shot which killed John Kennedy Jr.'s father, JFK. And there's a couple of interesting photos that came out around that time. One of which was Lee Harvey Oswald standing watching the procession, which obviously doesn't fit with the official narrative. And the other one is this photo here of this gentleman stood outside the book depository, and it is alleged that it's George Bush Sr., who was an operative inside the CIA at the time. As such, when everyone questioned why John Kennedy Jr. wasn't following his late father into politics, and instead he brought out this political, what appears at first to be a political magazine, everyone thought, this is a strange move on his part. But when you look a bit deeper and you see what he's trying to say here, it gets a bit interesting. And this is all alleged, folks. We'll come on to this. I pulled up this article. This isn't the article that warmed me off about the George magazine. This is just an article I've found today that kind of reiterates what I'm saying. JFK told the world who took out his father, but nobody was paying attention. What's critical to understand is the very same perpetrators who executed that CIA black operation back in '63 also conducted things in New York, Washington, and yada, yada, yada. It goes on to say the Trump presidency may be the last chance to take back the nation from those who have stolen it. Although it's not just the nation, is it? It's called the New World Order. So basically, John F. Kennedy allegedly is hinting here at the person who killed his father, who's alleged to be George Bush Sr., but I think it's quite clever the way that he's written the magazine, and it might be totally reading too much into it. But George is, I know everyone's going to think it's a reference to George Washington, or in homage to George Washington. But it says here, John Kennedy talks to George Wallace. George Wallace was a nemesis of his father. I think George Wallace stood out against black people being allowed into college campuses, university. And I think his father called out the National Guard on George Wallace, threatened him with being arrested, and as such they had to let the black students pass. And then this bit here, look, dodging bullets. It would be coincidental, wouldn't it, if the son of the president who got shot, who he unwittingly did dodge quite a few bullets that day, but sadly not all of them. And it's even got the word car on the front page. Yes, I am looking too deep into it, but I just find this stuff kind of fascinating. And then there's the call there to revolution. Is that a revolution against against the dark forces? So that was interesting. Sadly, what happened to JFK Jr.? Although I know many people believe he's still alive, he was killed in a plane crash, wasn't he? And that's when Hillary beat him to the position in New York. Moving on, I just pulled this bit up. It's about Ryan Roof. So Ryan Roof was the chap on the golf course that took a snipe at Donald Trump was it not? And someone's highlighted here that Judge Eileen Cannon has allowed the Department of Justice to keep evidence in the alleged would-be Trump assassin Ryan Roof's case secret on the grounds that its disclosure could cause serious damage or exceptionally grave damages to national security, the national security of the United States. Not even Roof is allowed to see this information. And I've highlighted this for a reason, but one of which is it's just history repeating itself, is it not? How can you not know that there's a shadow conspiracy permanently going on that totally controls your politicians, your puppets, when the playbooks is the same playbook? It's the same playbook every time. They still haven't totally unclassified the JFK assassination documents, have they? I know they have some, but in that some they redacted all the important information, and there's an awful lot of documents that aren't in that file. Do you see what I mean? So there's an awful lot of information that would link this picture together with George Bush Sr., the mafia, Jack Rubenstein, and everything else that went on that day, included, what was it, the alleged 11 snipers, and the final chap was the guy that shot him from the storm drain under the overpass, hence why the president went backwards. A lot of that, witness testimonies are not even in the official file. So, and then there's also that thing, isn't there, that someone knows who did it. I chatted with this to Larry. Stay tuned tomorrow. Many people know what happened that day, and their evidence isn't even ever going to be in that file, is it? Well, you'd think so. So you'd think not. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. She's doing the rounds on Twitter. She's moved to a cushy pleasure palace prison. They're saying here that as she pushes for a deal to tell all on Epstein and his associates, I'm going to stay here and now. I think that's absolute nonsense for so many reasons. It was clearly a sting operation. What's that word? Someone put it in the comments when you... honey, so I'll put it in the comments. Honey trap, isn't it? Where they honey trapped all these quote unquote powerful people who believed they were going to an island for a holiday, and then got a little bit, and this is a euphemism, a bit carried away with some rather young women. And then when the photos and the video was put to them, they nodded, right, what do you want me to do? Well, let's have a war, with Afghanistan. Let's have a war with Iraq. Let's bring in a phony, totally bogus medical narrative and make our buddies in a certain industry even more trillionaires than they already are. So the knowledge that they're just going to tell all, this is the Mossad, folks. They ain't going to tell you nothing. Their motto is by deception thou shalt do war. What part of that is difficult to understand? But where it becomes interesting is in conversations like this. Let me just play you a little bit. This is a chap who is chatting with... It says this is from Truth Justice, but I don't know if this is the podcast, so apologies, Truth Justice, if it is you. But this is Ari Ben Minash, who was the former Israeli intelligence officer. He's confirming that Epstein and Ghislaine worked for Mossad, blackmailing Bill Clinton and a whole host of others.
So you think Trump wants right now?
Right now, this is what he wants, yes.
And in order to remove the blackmailable option that Netanyahu carries, they decided to put out this memo saying there's no material, no blackmail material. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right.
To diffuse
that's my take. Huh?
That's
my take.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. But, of course, there are a lot of loose ends that they didn't think about.
Mm-hmm.
The girl in jail, the 4 girls that testified, the judge.
Like Andrew, why would Prince Andrew have paid that woman, the one who died?
It's the same thing.
If he wasn't a client. He wasn't a client,
it's
right?
It's another loose end that they didn't think about.
Yes. The interesting thing here is, how does it relate to the president? You got another chap here. This guy here is, bear with me, Philip J. Berg, who he took the government to court with a RICO lawsuit over all the September the 11th stuff. He was an attorney, and he's coming out. This has been his thing all along. Let's just see a bit of what he's saying.
Key to this Epstein problem of pedophilia is the fact that it goes back decades. Jeff Epstein was picked out by the Mossad as the proper agent of influence because, number one, he was grandiose. 2, he had some intelligence, but came from a poor Jewish background, had no real education, did not speak a foreign language, and was so narcissistic that they could manipulate him up and down and create a false front for him, which involved the fact that he had multi-million dollars or multi-billion dollars. He may have no money. It's not even relevant. But to make sure that Jeffrey Epstein was working properly, they had an operative from the Mossad who was named Maxwell, the daughter of Robert Maxwell, one of the greatest crooks in the world, who was an Israeli Mossad operative. When he died in 1991, he was either killed or he died. He was one of the biggest contributors to Israeli national security of anybody else. So his daughter was the control operative of Jeff Epstein. At the same time, we had Nexium in New York City, which was run by a non-Jew named Renier, but controlled by 2 Jewish women, the Bronfman family. And they, in turn, were propagating pedophilia. Now, why is pedophilia so lethal? From an intelligence point of view, from my point of view, as an intelligence operative and a counterintelligence operative, one of the most disgusting things that you can do in the intelligence world is to double you up or co-opt you through the use of a honey trap, but not only an adult honey trap, but a child.
Yeah, I think we kind of get all that, don't we? The 2 points I wanted to make here is, how much longer are we going to hear stuff about a certain small country in the Middle East? And I'm not having a go at the people there that, probably, I'd imagine 99% are just probably oblivious to this. I'm talking more about the apparatus, the function of that nation as set up by the Rothschilds, as I said all along, from which to use as the facade to then conduct the usury practice that's bringing about the New World Order, is what I'm trying to say. How long before it's sort of not, this isn't funny anymore, is it? You look at every narrative that goes on, and it's always the same people behind, like, all of it. And do I think people are going to wake up to it? I know all the Great Awakening would love to think that. Certainly people seem to be way more aware now. It's like when you talk about the medical thing with most people now, even they might not get it to the extent that you and I do. like they get something wasn't right about it, don't they? So I don't want to dismiss the sharing of information, folks. I'm more kind of trying to highlight that so long as we buy into the beast system, which, we're on a hiding to nothing. It's called the beast system for a reason. And if we want to bring about sustainable, decent change for future generations, we got to stop playing their game. And playing their game is by thinking that the next politician who comes along, he's just going to be a bit better, and things are going to change, and you're going to make this country great again or that country great again, because essentially they're all missing the vital ingredient. This whole system is based on darkness. When I say satanic, I'm not talking about some little red man with a pointy tail. I mean the fact that human beings are not just fallible, but they're quite easily fallible. How many people went along with the medical thing just so they could go on holiday, even though they fucking knew it was cretinously, stupid. And while everybody lives in their ego, everybody resists the enlightenment path because it seems hard. It seems like a hard thing to exercise, doesn't it? Ironically, it's not. Going for a walk, it's so easy. And as you get older, you realize just the simple pleasure in it. It's easy just to take a few seconds every day to breathe and remember that you are interconnected with every single thing that ever has been and ever will be. You see a tree, you've been brainwashed to think it's a tree and it's me. And I can just chop that tree down. I don't even have to think. That tree is you. Physically is you. Because what you're breathing out, that tree is breathing in, and then it's breathing out what you're breathing in. And there's no void between you, because that exact change, that is the medium between you. And it doesn't stop. It's not like, the tree breathes to there and you breathe that close to the... No, it's going into your blood, that air. And it goes into your lungs, and through the alveoli of the lungs, it's going into your bloodstream. And there it's broken up by a biochemical process that takes place within your blood, in your vital organs. And then it's being converted into, whatever it is, energy, or helping proteins to build your cells. So physically, there is no separation. So taking a few minutes every day just to breathe and remind yourself you are all, everything, totally connected. There is no past and there is no future. There is just the all. And I know I'm doing a bad job of explaining it. It doesn't hurt to resist the overindulgences with food. It doesn't hurt to say, could you cut my carbohydrates in half, please? Because that's just glucose that turns to glucose in my body. That glucose is a form of sugar. Sugar's acidic. And that just cuts your connection with universe. So I'm just putting this out there, folks. Are these things difficult to do? It's not difficult to pick up a copy of the dictionary, the scriptures and myths, so you can see what they're really, really, really talking about. And then you can find your own way into paradise, as many of us have done. But this isn't meant to be a lecture, folks, or a preach. I'm asking the question, will there come a time when everyone on the planet does this? what does it take? Does it take a great reset? Does it take, do we have to go around again as human beings? Because the allure of this system is just so powerful. You dangle a little bit of carrot in front of someone's nose and fuck off. All their morals just go out the window. Just like this corrupt, this corrupt bunch. So, yes. And just to add to my point, I pulled this off Twitter. This girl has got a good name. Anna Paulina Luna. I don't know why she's referred to as Anna Paulina Luna, other than the fact it's her name, but it's just a funny name, Anna Paulina Luna. Anyway, seriously, who really gives a shit about a rock that may or may not be in space by a space agency that may or may not have ever been in space? And this seems to grab this and the UFO thing grabs so many people's attention. Everyone's perhaps looking for those magic answers. Well, there's just fascinating things to discover right inside of you, right sat here now, that I'd say most people hold at arm's length. And is it important to be considering rocks coming at us from space? Or is it not better to ask, like, why don't people say hello to each other in the street anymore? That's fucking weird. Why is it that it's not just the not saying hello, it's the fact that some people, when they walk past you, you can see they are fucking terrified. They either believe you're a threat, or they have been so shell-shocked through life, like the medical narrative, etc., the beauty magazine culture, the mainstream media fear productions, that they're terrified to say hello to you or terrified of you. Or number three, and I think about this a lot, I think a lot of people just haven't been socialized. They don't understand what community is and why it's important. And obviously when we lose community, that's, I personally don't think that's ever going to be good. Although there should be research done into how beneficial are online communities like the one that we're in now. What else? I mean, environment. What about oil, burning off all the planet's oil, the natural shock absorbers of the land masses, which is oil, and we're draining it to burn off, to put into the sky. I know everyone's going to have a different view on that, folks. I'm not. That's my whole point. Is we've all got a different view on it. Why can we not come to some sort of consensus that could be, well, we don't know for definite it's this, so why don't we err on the side of caution? We've got these crappy electric cars buzzing around doing all sorts of damage to the environment, and the obesity epidemic, the opioid epidemic, prescription medication full stop epidemic. We've got a whole medical community that before they will even consider your health, they'll prescribe you a drug or they'll recommend surgery. How many people have gone for surgery on something had they just water fasted for 3 days and seen a vast improvement in their health? They would have gone, fuck that, I ain't having that bit cut out my body or that bit bolted onto my body. It's quite quite madness that a rock in the sky is taking people's attention. Right, that's it, folks. I hope you got something out of this. I don't know why, but I'm struggling to get my words out these days. There must be a reason behind it. Hoping it's not old age. Can't be running up the big hill because I didn't do that this morning. I went to the swimming pool instead. I did my Mount Everest training in swimming today. And yeah, always good to do something. Right, let's go over the locals. Folks, can we just get some subscribes before you all disappear? That would be absolutely wonderful. If you can like and subscribe and click the notification bell, that would be awesome. Let's go over the locals, and I want to look at that Synagogue of Satan stuff. Thanks to everyone in the chat. I'll have a read of it, folks, after I shut the video down. But it's whizzing away there. Much love, everyone.